Welcome, weary friend, to the sleepy traveler. You have spent the day in motion, emails, traffic lights, leaping thoughts, all of it tugging at your focus. Now, as night settles over your room, you deserve a gentler pace. So set your phone aside, lower the lamp, and settle into a position that feels kind to your body. Picture a narrow trail just beyond Kyoto, winding through the Sagano bamboo forest. Moonlight filters between slender emerald stalks that rise higher than any city tower, their leaves whispering like distant waves. A small stone arch welcomes you, its surface cool beneath your fingertips. Step past it. With each breath, the forest soundtrack grows clearer. Shoots sway in slow rhythm. Somewhere deeper in the grove, a hidden stream adds a steady hush, as if the whole landscape is exhaling for you. Take another breath, long and unhurried. As you inhale, imagine the cool night air carrying hints of moss and faint sweetness from blossoms that bloom only after dusk. When you exhale, release every errand left on tomorrow's list. Here, nothing rushes. Even the breeze shows patience, curling around the bamboo in languid spirals. A faint lantern glow appears ahead, pooled at the base of a weathered torii gate. It lights the path without competing against the stars. You pause to listen. The world you left behind feels miles away, and your heart rate mirrors the gentle rustle above. Each creak of a swaying stalk feels like an invitation to slow even further. As you walk, soft ground cushions each step. Pebbles crunch in a pattern that matches your breathing. The repeating sounds form an easy lullaby. Crunch, hush, rustle, hush. Bamboo trunks lean inward, creating a living hallway that protects every thought you let go. Fireflies hover in slow circles, tiny lanterns guiding you deeper into calm. Up ahead, a small pavilion waits. Its roof is tiled in curved ceramics the color of muted jade, edges tipped with silver dew. A single wooden bench offers rest. When you sit, the seat warms to your shape, as if it remembers every traveler who ever paused here. You set down your day beside you and watch the leaves shift against the moonlit sky. Their silhouettes overlap, forming ever-changing tapestries that never demand attention, only invite it. Close your eyes for a moment. Notice the steady drum of your heartbeat, now slower than it was minutes ago. Let the cool air wrap around that rhythm like a silk scarf. In this forest, time loosens its grip. It slips between the bamboo and drifts away. You remain unhurried and whole. Should stray thoughts try to follow you, hand them a small paper lantern and place them on the stream that winds past the pavilion. Watch as each light floats off, bobbing gently until it blurs with the reflections of stars. You are free to rest. The forest will stand guard. In a little while, we'll begin tonight's journey proper, moving from grove to shrine to hidden tea house. For now, simply breathe, listen, and allow the Sagano night to soften every edge of wakefulness. Your story is about to unfold, and it asks nothing more of you than presence. Let the whisper of bamboo guide you towards sleep, one rustle at a time. Chapter 1. Lanterns at the Gate. A hush settles across the forest floor as you reach the first stone step. Moss presses soft against the edges of each slab, cool beneath the pads of your feet. Night air brushes your cheeks, scented with rain that never quite fell. Somewhere behind, the city lights of Kyoto dim to memory, their glow fading like a lantern blown out by a careful breath. Ahead, a wooden arch leans over the path, its frame bound with braided straw and ribbons the color of worn parchment. Fireflies drift near the beams, sparking in slow swirls, as if they've been waiting for you to arrive. A small figure steps into view, lantern raised. The caretaker's cloak folds about slender shoulders, quilted in faded indigo. Light spills from the lamp's paper walls, warm and buttery, turning each floating mote of dust to gold. Eyes kind, smile gentle. No need for words. A tilt of the head invites you to follow. The caretaker passes you a fresh lantern, its handle wrapped in fraying red cord. You feel the slightest warmth radiate through your fingers, like a memory of afternoon sun held in the palm. With every quiet footfall, the forest draws nearer. Bamboo trunks rise on both sides, tall as cathedral columns, their surfaces rippled by age and moonlight. Leaves rattle together high above, never in haste, just speaking among themselves. Your lantern's glow flickers along the stalks, painting long, soft shadows that slide across the trail. The caretaker's own light moves ahead, steady, unhurried, creating a glowing thread for you to follow. A gust wanders through the grove, bending thin trunks in a graceful bow. They sway, then spring upright, releasing a gentle creak, like the opening of an old wooden door. The sound deepens the hush, carving out room for your breath. Each inhale draws in a quiet comfort. Each exhale lets go of something you no longer need. Numbers, schedules, lingering echoes of conversation. By the third breath, even your heartbeat seems to march in softer steps. You notice lantern poles spaced along the path, their hooks empty. The caretaker stops at the first and lifts your lantern with practiced ease. The flame settles, glassy and still. Together you watch it burn, threads of smoke curling up to join the midnight sky. The caretaker gestures toward a small pouch tucked at your side, a gift you hadn't seen before. Within lie slips of paper, long and narrow, edges singed black. Ink strokes curve across them, delicate but bold. Each strip holds a whisper, a worry, a thought that buzzes too loudly when sleep should come. You recognize some at once. Deadlines, doubts, the name you forgot to answer earlier today. Other strips reveal themselves slowly, yet feel just as familiar once read. The caretaker's palm opens. You place the first slip upon it. With a nod, the caretaker touches the paper to the flame. It ignites in a gasp of orange and folds into ash, which lifts into the night breeze and disappears among the leaves. A second slip follows, then a third. One by one, the small flames bloom and vanish. For each that fades, a weight eases from your shoulders. Lantern light grows gentler, as if fueled now by your breathing alone. The path angles upward, and the caretaker strolls ahead. Stone steps, irregular and worn smooth, guide you through a corridor of green walls. A chorus rises overhead, tiny bamboo leaves brushing each other, 1,000 muted symbols. Water murmurs somewhere off to the left, urging you forward. Your foot catches on a root, but finds balance quickly, guided by the lanterns that now dot the trail behind you, their line of light stretching like a constellation stitched upon the ground. Soon you reach a clearing no larger than a garden. There, a circular pool waits, fed by a thin cascade that falls from a notch in a rocky ledge. Moonlight drips into the water beside it, and ripples wander outward in silver rings. The caretaker kneels, dipping fingertips to the surface, then turns both hands upward, inviting you to do the same. You crouch, touch the pool. Cool silk glides across your skin. In that instant, memories scatter. Moments you tried to hold tight when you should have let them drift. The water pulls them away, carrying them toward the far bank, where reeds sway in silent applause. Rising, you follow the caretaker around the pond to a grove denser than before. Bamboo trunks lean together, arches overlapping to form a vaulted ceiling of living wood. Strands of moss hang like bundled threads, damp and fragrant. Lantern hooks line this new hall. The caretaker pauses at each, lighting fresh wicks from the flame of a single candle. Soft halos bloom, overlapping until the entire corridor glows like dawn trapped in amber. You walk beneath these lights, and the air brightens but never glares. Shadows remain kind, pooling under roots and between stones. Above, the moon drifts in and out of view, a slow boat behind drifting leaves. Somewhere deeper, an owl calls. It sounds neither near nor far, but suspended, meant only to fill the silence with gentle shape. Past the glowing hallway, the trail veers right and opens to a small courtyard paved in river stones. A torii gate stands at its center, painted once in vermilion, now faded to the rose of worn terracotta. Strands of paper charms sway beneath its crossbeam, rustling when the wind catches. The caretaker removes a charm and hands it to you. You glide your thumb across the paper's grain, feel each ink character press into the pad like tiny paths. Though you can't read the ancient strokes, you sense their meaning: safety, stillness, surrender. You tie the charm back upon the beam, alongside hundreds left by those who traveled before. The line trembles, then stills, settling into union with the rest. For a breath, you close your eyes, and your pulse joins the quiet hum of the courtyard. The caretaker sets down the lantern beside the torii, the flame crackling softly. From a pouch at the belt, a small clay bell appears, strung on red thread. Its surface bears faint designs: cranes, pine needles, waves. The caretaker raises it high. The bell sings once, clear single note, and the entire forest pauses. Leaves lift, hold, then fall into rhythm again, as if acknowledging some secret cue. The note fades, but a hush lingers. With that hush, you sense a lag between thought and breath, as though the night itself has stretched to offer more space for each moment. A low bench rests near one side of the courtyard. You sit, feeling the wood adjust to your presence. The caretaker kneels across from you and reaches into a wicker basket hidden under the bench. 2 porcelain cups emerge, along with a flask wrapped in woven straw. Steam slips from its lip, dissolving into the cool dark. The caretaker pours a jade-colored tea, the liquid catching lantern light as it moves, glowing liquid jade. You take a cup, cradle it between palms. It smells of toasted rice and freshly cut stalks. The first sip tastes like the distant memory of morning rain on fields, soft and earthy. Warmth unfurls along your wrists, crawls up to your shoulders. Muscles unclench, jaw slackens. The caretaker sips in silence, eyes lowered. There is no need for conversation. Steam acts as speech here, curling and fading with same calm rhythm as your breath. When the tea is finished, the caretaker rises, takes up the lantern, and motions toward a narrow path branching away from the courtyard. You follow, your cup's warmth lingering in your chest. This trail is softer, lined with fallen leaves that cushion each step. Fireflies play above, drifting in loose spirals, their glow pulsing. The caretaker lifts the lantern high, signaling. Fireflies gather, forming a floating ribbon ahead, guiding the way. Their lights blink in slow tempo, matching your heartbeat. Along the path, wooden platforms extend into alcoves between the bamboo stands. At the first, you pause. A single cushion lies atop it, woven from reeds kissed by moonlight. The caretaker nods. You sit. A hush, deeper than before, settles. You realize the forest blocks every intrusive sound. No trains, no night traffic, no phones. Even your own thoughts appear muffled, as if swaddled in gauze. The caretaker pulls a small lacquered box from within the robe, sets it before you. Inside, dried petals, pale pink and white, release a faint fragrance when lifted to the air. Cherry blossoms, gathered at season's end. The caretaker sprinkles them over a small charcoal disc set in a bronze dish. Smoke rises, sweet and faint, carrying whispers of spring into this cool summer night. You inhale. An image wanders into your mind. A river of petals drifting along a quiet lane, carried toward a distant sea. The image stays a moment, then passes into memory, joining the soft smoke above. The caretaker sits across the platform, hands folded, eyes half closed, head tilted as if listening to a distant song. You follow suit, gaze drifting from the lantern's glow to the dappled canopy overhead. The smoke dances among the beams of light, and for a moment, shapes appear, cranes in flight, winding rivers, an old temple bell. They disperse, reform, vanish. You watch until your eyelids grow heavy, though you remain upright, safely cradled by night air. Without a word, the caretaker stands, beckoning once more. You rise slowly, limbs warm and pliant. The path curves, and the ground slopes downward. Each step feels effortless. Stones guide each footfall, and the bamboo begins to thin. Through breaks in the canopy, stars peek, bright and patient. You follow the caretaker into another clearing where an ancient cedar spreads its branches like wide arms. Beneath, a basin carved from black rock catches water that drips from a hollow bamboo pipe. The caretaker dips a ladle, offers it to you. You sip, and the water is silk on your tongue, cool, clean, alive. A second sip, and you feel as though each cell glows. Then the caretaker pours a ladleful over your hands, washing away fine dust you hadn't noticed, but now gladly release. Water traces delicate streams across your skin before sinking into the moss below. Lantern raised, the caretaker circles the cedar, tapping the trunk once, twice. In answer, a breeze stirs, sweeping through the clearing. Leaves rustle high, then settle. A tiny rain of pollen drifts down, sparkling in the lantern's glow like crumbs of starlight. They land on shoulders, in hair, on the backs of hands, and remain for a breath before vanishing. You feel lighter still, as though the forest has finished some quiet ritual on your behalf. The caretaker now walks beside you, not ahead, guiding but sharing the journey. Together you return to the main path, where the line of lanterns you placed earlier flickers gently, marking your steps like echoes made of light. One by one they extinguish as you pass, flames curling inward, then fading to glowing embers. Yet the path never darkens. A new softness replaces each light, perhaps moonlight, perhaps memory. You walk through growing shadows, feeling only warmth. The trail levels out, bending toward a small pavilion with a slanted roof of wooden shingles. Wind chimes dangle along the eaves, crafted from carved bamboo tubes. They sing when the breeze touches them, a quiet chord that drifts away almost as soon as it arrives. Within the pavilion, tatami mats lie in tidy rows. The caretaker gestures, offering you the central mat. You kneel, then stretch out on your side, the woven surface molding to hip and shoulder. Cool air passes beneath the open walls, carrying the scent of pine resin and distant river stones. The caretaker lowers the lantern to the floor beside you. Flame dims, shrinking until it becomes a single ember at the wick. The caretaker's face glows for a heartbeat, then slips into shadow. You feel a hand brush your temple, light as silk. Fingers trace a slow arc along your brow, smoothing the day's final crease. A barely audible hum rises, a lullaby with no words, only melody. It drifts and coils around you, sinking through layers of thought. Muscles soften again, eyes drift closed. The caretaker hushes the lantern. Darkness melts into deep blue, then deeper still, but never feels empty. You sense the bamboo sway, hear the leaves lull and hush, hush, hush. At last, the caretaker's footsteps recede, muffled by the matting. Wind chimes whisper once more, then rest. Beyond the pavilion, a chorus of hidden crickets begins, slow and steady. Their rhythm curls around your heartbeat, matching, then guiding it into slower waves. The cedar's scent lingers. Warm tea hums inside your chest, and somewhere a distant owl calls once, as if closing a book. You lie within that sound and color, floating just above sleep. Lanterns at the gate still glow in your mind, a chain of small suns leading back to the world you left. But they dim, one by one, until only the memory of their warmth remains. In its place grows another light, soft, inner, rising behind closed eyes. It pulses slow, matching breath, turning dreams gentle before they even form. Bamboo leaves rustle again, their hush more distant than before. The pavilion breathes with you. Night cradles your limbs, and the Sagano sky folds itself over you like a quilt stitched from moonlit clouds. You drift, weightless, through the final doorway of waking. Beyond it waits a garden of dreams lit only by calm fireflies and the echo of that single bell's note, still traveling across hushed branches. Rest there. The caretaker will guard the lanterns until dawn. Chapter 2. The Whispering Walk. A faint glow lingers behind your eyelids, the ember of the caretaker's lantern still unfolding in memory. You drift upward from sleep the way mist rises from a pond, slow and silent, until awareness rests on your skin like dew. Bamboo leaves brush one another in quiet applause. Their music is gentle yet unbroken, a steady ribbon that never stopped while you dreamed. You open your eyes and see the pavilion roof above. Beams painted with drifting shards of dawn light. Not sunrise, not yet, only the softest promise of it. The air holds a cool hush, tinged with the scent of cedar smoke and night-blooming jasmine. You rise without hurry. Muscles remember the lull of the tea, the smooth wash of water at the cedar basin. Your feet find the mat, and then the earth beyond, light as dragonfly wings. Outside the pavilion, the caretaker waits, hands folded within the sleeves of that faded indigo cloak. No words, only a nod, slight and knowing, as if the caretaker has listened to your dreams and approves of where they carried you. A new lantern dangles from one hand, its frame carved from polished bamboo, the paper sides brushed with swirls of pale ink. The flame inside burns low, steady, a single heartbeat made of fire. The caretaker steps onto the path, and you follow. Pebbles hush beneath your soles. The forest deepens with every breath, trunks clustering closer, their smooth walls washed in shifting greens. Shafts of moonlight retreat overhead, replaced by the first grey stirring of pre-dawn. Somewhere high above, a nightbird offers 3 soft notes, then folds into silence. The caretaker answers with a single clap of palms, a polite greeting to whatever spirit keeps watch among the leaves. Soon the trail narrows to a spine of packed earth. The caretaker raises the lantern, and you see thin root veins crossing the path in gentle arabesques. Each one lifts just enough to ask for mindful footing. You step between them, finding a rhythm. Inhale, step, exhale, step, as though breath and movement are threads drawn from the same loom. The lantern's glow sweeps ahead, brushing stalk after stalk with fleeting warmth. Where the light passes, the bamboo seems to lean in, eager to share its secret song. A breeze gathers, almost shy at first. It slips between the trunks, nudging leaves into motion. The sound begins low, like someone humming through cupped hands. Then another gust joins, and another. The pitch shifts, rises, overlaps, until the entire grove becomes an immense instrument, each stalk a silent flute that only air can play. Notes drift in clusters, long sighs, short sighs, layered whispers that rise and fall without melody, yet still feel like music. You pause, lantern light pooled around your ankles. Eyes closed, you let the breeze arrange the song inside your chest. The caretaker stops as well, tilting her head to listen. A soft smile touches those calm eyes, as if to say, "Yes, this is why we came deeper." The music continues, never loud, only insistent in its gentleness. It fills every hollow inside you where thoughts once rattled. In their place grows a hush that gleams like clear water. When you open your eyes again, the caretaker is already moving. Footfalls match the forest's breath, slow, deliberate, kind. You fall into step behind, matching pace with ease. The path bends left, then right, weaving through tight clusters of bamboo. Each turn reveals a different harmony, a corner where stalks stand so dense the wind must squeeze between, producing a high, breathy whistle. Another where trunks lean wide, giving the breeze space to deepen into a low, resonant hum. You walk through shifting chords, a wandering audience of one. Eventually, the trail widens into a natural aisle. Here, the bamboo arches overhead, forming a vaulted ceiling that glows faintly silver in the lantern light. The caretaker stops and lowers the flame so it brushes the ground, inviting you to stand beneath the arch and simply breathe. You do. Under this airy tunnel, the wind gains freedom, and the music swells, not louder but fuller, wrapping you in layers of sound. You feel it along your scalp, over your shoulders, inside the hollow of your ribs. Even your heartbeat leans toward the rhythm, choosing a slower cadence that matches what the forest sings. The caretaker removes a small wooden whistle from a pouch. It is carved from a single piece of bamboo, no longer than your thumb, polished smooth by countless hands. Without ceremony, the caretaker lifts it to parted lips and exhales. The note that leaves the whistle is quiet, a slender ribbon of tone that threads through the grove's own song without breaking anything. Another note follows, then a pause. The forest replies with a gust that answers in pitch. A conversation, wordless yet clear, passes between whistle and wind. The caretaker plays 3 notes in a rising pattern. The breeze curls through the leaves in descending answer. You watch, breath caught, as though witnessing 2 old friends trade secrets too delicate for language. When the exchange finishes, the caretaker offers you the whistle. It rests in your palm, warm despite the cool air. You lift it to your lips, inhale slow, and release a cautious breath. The note that forms is soft, slightly wavering, but the forest accommodates it at once. Leaves rustle in matching tremor, shaping your uncertain tone into something steadier. Encouraged, you try again, a longer exhale. This sound floats through the grove like a single thread of silk, gold in the lantern light. Wind meets it, bends around it, then carries it away. For a moment, you feel your breath separate from lungs, journey outward to join the night, then circle back in the hush of rustling leaves. You understand, suddenly, how movement and sound intertwine here. Footsteps become percussion. Breathing becomes melody. The forest is your orchestra, patient and forgiving. You walk farther, playing now and then. Short, gentle bursts that rise, mingle with rustling leaves, and fade. The caretaker responds with the lantern, lifting it higher when your notes rise, lowering when they fall, as if painting the music in light. Some notes draw fireflies, tiny sparks that drift close to your whistle, only to spin away like shy dancers. Others prompt unseen birds to utter half-awake chirps before settling again. A delicate equilibrium forms. Every input, wind, whistle, step, flutter, creates ripples that balance without effort. You feel yourself fit into this pattern as though you were always meant to be part of it. Time loosens. Minutes stretch into something softer, unmeasured. The path inclines gently, leading to a ridge where the canopy parts just enough to reveal a slice of moon, thin as a water ripple. In that faint glow lies a wooden footbridge, narrow and railless, arching across a ravine so shallow you can't see the bottom. The caretaker steps onto the boards and gestures for silence, finger to lips, though no words were about to rise. You hold the whistle to your chest, still warm, and follow. Planks creak under weight, then settle. Midway across, the grove's song gains a new layer. Below the bridge, hidden in shadow, a small waterfall grinds stone with gentle persistence. Its murmur joins the wind, creating a low bass that vibrates in your soles. You freeze, eyes closed, just to feel the chord deepen. The caretaker stops beside you. Together you stand, lantern between, listening to hollow wood sing underfoot, wind hum overhead, water murmur below. 3 tones at once, like an ancient chord. You add a breath, an exhale through the whistle, and a 4th note emerges, completing the harmony. For a heartbeat, you suspect the forest holds itself still, attentively, as if acknowledging a moment of wholeness. Past the bridge, the trail broadens into a clearing ringed by clusters of short bamboo, their tops trimmed flat. In the center stands a large stone that looks like a sleeping cat curled upon itself. Its surface shimmers faintly, wet with dew. The caretaker places the lantern atop the stone. Flame spills across its curves, lighting the clearing with a golden hush. Then the caretaker bows, deeper than before, inviting you to sit. You lower yourself onto the mossy ground, crossing legs. The caretaker kneels opposite, eyes closed, hands resting lightly on knees. Silence arrives, carried on the back of a birdless breeze. Here the bamboo chorus gentles. Leaves barely stir, as if exhaling after a long song. Only distant water keeps a steady whisper, a reminder that even in quiet, something moves. Your eyelids slide shut. Wind brushes lashes. A chill wants to creep in, but the stone's warmth radiates through the clearing, keeping air temperate. You allow your shoulders to drop, jaw to loosen. In that softness, breath takes its natural length. You sense the caretaker's presence, solid yet airy, a quiet tree among trees. Your own presence joins, trunk to trunk, root to root, invisible but felt. Thoughts come, lesser worries that survived the lantern ritual. They hover like small gnats, annoying but harmless. Instead of batting them away, you offer them to the wind. Each exhale lifts one, turns it into a leaf, light and dry. The leaf joins the sparse swirl of air above, circles once, then rests among the moss. Accepting imperfection is easier when the forest music reminds you that even bamboo cracks in winter, yet it stands tall come spring. The caretaker shifts, breaking meditation with calm purpose. From another pocket comes a length of woven grass cord, threaded with hollow bamboo beads. Each bead bears a tiny hole so the wind can pass through, making a near inaudible tone. The caretaker places the cord in your hands. You feel the smoothness of each bead, some warm like sun-touched stone, others cool like morning mist. The caretaker taps one bead with a fingertip. It squeaks, a child of the forest's larger song. Then 2 taps, 3, until a miniature melody forms. No pattern, just play. You mimic, tapping random beads. Each reply meets the caretaker's taps in friendly echo. Soon, both sets of fingers move, creating overlapping clicks and squeaks that skip across the clearing. Fireflies gather, orbiting the stone in slow gyres, drawn by the gentle percussion. A gust swells, weaving through beads, trilling faintly as it exits. Your taps cease so you can listen. The caretaker stills as well. The cord now sings itself, wind plucking tiny flutes in no rhythm you can predict, yet every note sits exactly where it belongs. Moss captures the sound, offers it back at half volume. You sit in the middle of that alive hush and notice an inner pulse grow stronger, steady as a drum buried deep. It's only your heartbeat, yet it feels older than you, older than the bamboo. One rhythm shared by every quiet traveler who ever rested here. The caretaker rises and collects the lantern. No signal, yet you understand it's time to move. Cord in hand, you stand too. Fireflies scatter, creating a soft swirl in departure. You follow the caretaker through a narrow gap in the bamboo wall. On the other side, the forest floor softens to spongy earth layered with leaf mold. Your steps sink a finger's breadth, springs back. The scent of damp soil rises, cool and sweet, grounding after so much song. Now the trail barely exists, marked only by faint impressions, perhaps made by deer or foxes. The caretaker's lantern leads, but you notice something else. Points of bluish light scattered on the ground. Bioluminescent fungi, tiny constellations etched into the soil. Each cluster glows with a pulsing rhythm, slow and steady like the distant waterfall. You pause to kneel, studying a single mushroom no larger than a thumbnail. Its cap breathes with faint blue, dimmer, brighter, dimmer. When you hold the grass cord over it, wind passes through a bead and the fungus brightens in response. You test again. Same glow. The forest is listening, answering in light. Joy sparks low in your stomach, warm and mild, quiet enough not to disturb the calm. You reach a hollow where fallen bamboo forms a natural tunnel. The caretaker lowers the lantern, and both of you crouch to enter. Inside, the air is cooler, tinged with the smell of fresh-cut grass, though no blade was cut. Moonlight threads through gaps overhead, forming pale stripes across the floor. When the wind pushes, each hollow stalk resonates like a pipe organ, low and trembling. The tunnel becomes a soft throat of sound. You and the caretaker crawl slowly, lantern gracing the walls with flickering amber. Under this dim glow, you see carvings etched into the bamboo. Waves, cranes, symbols you can't read. Some lines look freshly cut, others weathered almost smooth. Travelers before you left them, perhaps centuries apart, yet they share equal space. You trace one line with a finger, feel its groove. In your pocket, the whistle shifts, reminding you that you've added your own note to the forest tonight. Marks different, gesture the same. A quiet signature left where it will fade into something larger. The tunnel opens into a moonlit glade. Stars hang above, clearer now that the bamboo canopy thins. The caretaker blows the lantern out, and darkness folds around you. But you don't fear. Your eyes adjust. The glade glows faintly from ground fungi and scattered fireflies. At its center stands a stone circle, waist high, wide enough to sit upon. The caretaker settles there, patting the cool surface beside. You climb up, legs dangling. Together you watch the sky. Clouds slide in thin sails, lit underneath by hidden moon. A hush spreads, deeper than any before, because even wind seems to pause here, holding its breath so stars may speak. You lift the whistle again, but this time only hold it, feeling its shape against skin chilled by night. You don't need to play. The forest sings enough. Water whispers from some hidden place. Leaves give the faintest tremor. Your lungs fill with air that tastes of moss and distant sea, though no ocean lies near. Each breath feels older than memory, a borrowing from something vast. Minutes pass, maybe hours. Time has no edges here. Eventually, a subtle glow rises behind the eastern trees. Not lantern, not moon, but the earliest hint of dawn. Night's deep indigo thins to soft cobalt. Birdsong stirs, tentative, testing. One note, then a chorus building like petals opening. The caretaker turns, nods once, and you understand. The whispering walk is ending, making space for another chapter of day. Yet the hush remains inside your chest, a small flame that will travel with you. You slip from the stone, feet meeting moss. The caretaker relights the lantern with a flick of flint. Flame flickers, then steadies, but it seems dimmer than sky, now blushing pale blue. Together, you return along a gentler path, easier underfoot, shaped by countless dawn returns. Each step backward through the grove erases sound, leaving only the faint hum of waking birds. Wind offers one last sigh, a farewell across the bamboo flutes. You don't answer with the whistle. Some music is meant to linger unplayed, echoing in the quiet between heartbeats. Ahead, the pavilion roof appears through thinning trees. The caretaker goes no farther, stopping at the spot where packed earth meets hardwood planks. Lantern lowers. A bull, deeper, final. You return it, grass cord still coiled in your hand, whistle warm at your throat. The caretaker's eyes hold that same gentle approval. Then the lantern turns away, drifting back into the dim corridors of green, flame bobbing until it becomes just another firefly and fades. You step onto the pavilion, find your mat, and lie down. Dawn's first real light slides across the bamboo slats, soft and silver. Birdsong weaves through distant water sound, threads too delicate to weigh on the mind. You close your eyes, and the whispering walk continues, echoing behind your eyelids. Wind, whistle, footfall. Together they form a lullaby you carry inward, deeper, until sleep greets you once more, gentle as a leaf settling on still water. Chapter 3. Stream of Forgetting. First light rests on your eyelids, a gentle warmth that nudges you awake without hurry. You keep your eyes closed and listen. Birds trill in soft bursts, scattered through the high canopy, and each note lands with the softness of spun silk. Bamboo leaves tremble overhead, but the dawn wind is too calm to bend them. Instead, the forest breathes in quiet waves that match the rising and falling of your chest. You sit, legs folding beneath you as naturally as water pouring into a bowl. Tatami fibers brush your palms when you reach for balance, and their faint straw scent grounds you in the moment. The pavilion's wooden pillars hold the coolness of night, yet a spark of warmth from morning sun slides across the floorboards in thin stripes. It feels like the forest is laying out stepping stones of light for your next journey. The caretaker appears at the edge of the pavilion and offers a nod that says it's time to continue. A fresh lantern hangs from one hand, though the rising sun makes its flame more ceremonial than practical. Still, its glow feels comforting, a promise that warmth will follow wherever you walk. You stand and fall in beside the caretaker, the rhythm of your steps setting a quiet tempo for the forest song. The path ahead is softer now, padded with fresh fronds that fell during the night. Each step lands like a feather, no jarring crunch of gravel, only a muted sigh from the earth. Scents shift as you move. First a hint of pine resin, sharp yet sweet, then a hush of water so pure it seems to cleanse the air itself. You notice droplets clinging to low leaves, small mirrors catching beams of early sun, scattering them in tiny rainbows. Soon the trail angles gently downhill. Pebbles grow darker, damp from unseen springs. Even the bamboo trunks appear to lean toward the slope, as if guiding you. The caretaker slows and points beyond a curve where the ground glows with reflected light. You follow until the sound reaches you, a hushed trickle over rounded stones, steady as a heartbeat felt through a pillow. Then the stream appears, narrow but playful, its surface broken into ripples that catch the sky and shatter it into shards of silver. The caretaker kneels at the water's edge, sets down the lantern, and unwraps a small bundle of rice paper. Sheets lie stacked inside, each thin enough to let morning shine through. The caretaker hands you one. It weighs less than a breath. In the center of the sheet, a single character is brushed in ink the color of night. You can't read it, yet it hums in your palm, alive with possibility. The caretaker gestures for you to sit. You fold your legs, feeling cool sand between your toes as you settle on the bank. Water giggles beside you, bumping into stones like a friend eager to share jokes. The caretaker takes a second sheet, brushes fingers across it, and begins folding slow, deliberate creases that form a tiny boat. Each move is measured to the breath. Inhale, fold, press, exhale. The small craft soon carries the inked character at its heart, protected by delicate walls. Your turn. You mimic the folds. Paper yields, soft yet resilient. Smooth edges flip and tuck until a boat takes shape, imperfect but steady. Your fingertips tingle with the ink's faint energy, though it never smudges. You place the finished boat beside the caretakers on the sand. A lineup forms, half a dozen fragile vessels that glow like moon petals. The caretaker lifts a boat, bows toward the water, and sets it afloat. Current catches it instantly, rocking the vessel in a lazy sway before pulling it downstream. The caretaker chooses a second boat, this time waiting for your gesture. You pick up your own, feel the heartbeat of ink against your skin, and bow to mirror the caretaker. Together, you release the boats. They drift side by side, twin specks of white gliding through the dappled light. A breeze gathers and threads through bamboo behind you. It pushes more boats, rocking them, coaxing them onto the stream. One by one, paper shells slip into the current. Each carries a silent story that once pressed upon your thoughts. Deadlines, doubts, restless memories. They sail away, heading for a bend hidden by reeds. You watch until the last white triangle disappears beyond a veil of leaves. Silence deepens, yet it feels spacious, not empty. The caretaker pours tea from a clay flask into 2 lacquer cups, each small enough to warm both palms at once. Steam drifts upward, curls around sunbeams, then vanishes. You sip. The tea tastes like mist settling on young bamboo, faint and clean. Warmth slides into your belly, blooms outward until your shoulders relax. Time slows until the stream's rhythm matches your breath. You notice how each ripple rises, leans and slips away, leaving no mark. The water shows no regret for any shape it held a moment ago. Stones beneath shimmer through the clear flow, smoothed by years of surrender. A lesson lies there, quiet but steady. When thoughts appear, you let them float through like ripples. They crest, lean, vanish. The stream shows how. The caretaker stands, dusts sand from palms, and steps onto a flat stone in mid-current. Water parts around slender ankles, never splashing higher than a whisper. You follow. Cold liquid encircles your feet, yet it feels electric, not chilling. Your skin tingles as if the water carries faint starlight. You look down and see small fish, translucent and quick, darting between your toes before disappearing beneath pebbles. The caretaker produces more rice paper, blank sheets this time, and a small charcoal stick. With the river's melody in your ears, you take a sheet. Charcoal glides across it, tracing shapes you don't plan yet recognize. Maybe a fragment of a worry still nested in your mind. Maybe something tender you wish to keep, but in lighter form. You finish a swirl and realize it looks like a swirling eddy. Without thought, you fold the sheet into another boat. The caretaker watches, smiles without pulling lips far apart, then copies the fold. Soon a new fleet sits on the flat stone. Sunlight paints each boat amber. The caretaker steps back to the shore, leaving you beside the water. This is your moment. You lift the first boat, whisper a single word into its hollow. The word is not spoken aloud, yet the heart feels it. The paper seems to warm in response. You set the boat down, and the current lifts it instantly. Its small white body wobbles, rights itself, and sails on. You repeat. each word softer than the one before, until your voice is nothing but breath. The caretaker's lantern flame flickers beside the bank, still lit despite morning brightness. The small fire looks eager, as if waiting to add its light to the ceremony. At the caretaker's gesture, you move to the lantern. A thin twig rests nearby, broken from the bank's single maple sapling. You pick it up, light its tip in the flame, then touch that spark to the last boat's peak. The paper edge blackens and curls, yet the boat doesn't burn to ash. It becomes a glowing vessel, a tiny torch that drifts away, leaving a faint trail of smoke that melts in morning air. Sun climbs higher, fingering through the trees until each droplet on the leaves turns to gold. The caretaker kneels again, filling a small wooden basin with river water. You cup your hands, lift water to your face, and pat cheeks, brow, eyelids. The coolness feels like a second dawn, washing away the final dusk within you. Drops trickle down your neck, leaving clean threads on your skin. The caretaker pours the remaining water back, then dips fingers and flicks small sprays onto surrounding stones. Where each drop lands, moss glows a shade deeper, as if thanking you for the drink. You realize in that gesture that nothing here is wasted. Every act, no matter how small, nourishes something. Leaf, fish, air, traveler. The path continues along the stream, shaded by arching bamboo. You walk barefoot, carrying your shoes in one hand, enjoying the mud's cool squish between toes. Pebbles roll underfoot like smooth marbles, prompting small shifts in balance that keep each step mindful. The caretaker hums, low and tuneless, blending with water sounds. The melody has no shape, only intention, steady comfort. As you stroll, shafts of sunlight break through canopy gaps, painting bright pools on the stream's surface. Each pool reflects leaves in kaleidoscope patterns, shimmering green mosaics that pulse and change with the current. You stop to watch and see tiny petals drifting by, pale pink, probably carried from some far-off sakura tree. They glide past like tiny sails, companions to the boats you released. A bend in the trail reveals a wooden bridge, curved like a quiet smile. Its planks are polished by centuries of patient footsteps. The caretaker crosses first, lantern swinging low near the water. Every slow sway draws twin reflections on the stream, orange eyes peering from the moving mirror. You follow, the bridge bowing gently under your weight, but the creek is friendly, welcoming another story into its grain. Mid-span you pause, hands on the rail. The stream beneath widens into a shallow pool, surface so clear it seems like polished glass. You can see polished stones, shadow of fish, even the subtle stripe of sun across the sandy bottom. Yet the reflection shows more. Sky framed by bamboo tips, your face softened by morning glow, and behind you, the caretaker's steady presence, part shadow, part light. You stand until the caretaker touches your shoulder, a feather's pressure. Then you cross to the far bank. The path climbs away from the stream, but water sound follows, hanging in the air like chimes. It fades slowly until only bamboo rattles remain. Yet you can still feel the current inside your ribcage, pulsing in time with your breath. Farther on, a small meadow opens, ringed by blooming azaleas. Their petals flare crimson in morning sun, yet their scent is delicate, never overpowering. In the center, a single stone bench rests under a ginkgo tree. The caretaker sits, patting space beside. You join, legs outstretched, soles brushing grass still cool with dew. The caretaker removes a cloth pouch from within that indigo robe and opens it for you. Inside lie smooth river stones, each painted with pale ink symbols. Some resemble swirling clouds, others look like tiny waves or falling leaves. The caretaker sets them on the bench in a scattered pattern. Then, using a finger, draws lines in the thin layer of dust on the stone seat, linking symbols, turning scattered pieces into a flowing stream. You watch as a story appears. Water coursing around boulders, sweeping past islands, finally widening into open sea. Your own finger moves to the dust. You trace a line branching from the caretaker's river, drawing a small path that curls around one painted stone. At the end of that curl, you place another stone found in your pocket, unpainted, plain grey. The caretaker's eyes light with quiet approval. Together, you create an entire delta in silence, each new line an unseen tributary joining bigger water. When the pattern feels complete, the caretaker lifts the stones one by one, dusts them gently, and returns them to the pouch. You blow across the bench, sending the dust design into the wind. It drifts like pale smoke, vanishing before it can fall. The story is gone, yet it lingers in memory, safe there. The caretaker stands, leading you down a slender track bordered by tall grasses that sway in soft waves. Dragonflies zigzag between stalks, wings flashing blue and bronze. The grass whispers against your calves, 1,000 tiny brushes that tickle without irritation. A hush grows with each step, partly because the stream is now out of earshot, partly because your mind holds fewer sounds. Boats of worry have sailed far, and with them, the need to fill every pause. A final rise brings you to a ridge overlooking the forest canopy. Bamboo tops sway below, a living green ocean. Beyond, distant mountains float in faint haze. Sun climbs behind them, turning peaks to silhouettes etched on pale sky. The caretaker lifts the lantern one last time, though its flame looks faint against full daylight. It feels more like a seal than a light, marking the journey's morning chapter as finished. You turn from the view when a gentle hand nudges your elbow. The caretaker opens both palms. Inside rests the small bamboo whistle from the night before, still glowing with oil from your breath. You thought you'd carry it longer, yet the caretaker's silent question is clear. Are you ready to set this note free as well? You weigh it for a breath, then align its hole with the wind. Air slips through, coaxing a single soft sigh that hangs above the ridge. You lift the whistle high and open your fingers. It tumbles, yet wind catches it, slowing the fall, guiding it through bamboo tops where it may sing on its own. You watch until the whistle disappears in green waves. The caretaker bows low, both arms crossing the chest. You respond in kind, feeling gratitude bloom warm in your sternum. Without words, the caretaker steps back into the grass, moving along another path that leads unknown. Lantern tilts once in farewell, then sinks from view. Only sun remains, bright yet gentle, as though filtered through all the water you've just passed. You turn to descend toward a new part of the forest that waits in quiet invitation. The whisper of the stream follows, softer with each step, but still humming beneath your ribs. With every exhale you feel lighter, as if each breath carries a few grains of old weight, dropping them like pebbles behind you. Ahead, bamboo trunks part, revealing shaded moss and the hint of crimson torii beyond. Another chapter calls. You step forward, footprints silent on the softened earth. The stream of forgetting flowing within you now, clear and steady, guiding you deeper into rest. Chapter 4. Shrine Beneath the Stars. A hush settles as the path narrows beneath a canopy of darkening green. Your steps drift over moss so thick it silences every footfall. The forest exhales dusk in cool waves that brush your cheeks and carry the faint scent of wood smoke. Fireflies hover in early orbit, tiny lanterns that blink once, twice, then fade into velvet air. Their slow rhythm mingles with the muted pulse of your heartbeat, each glow a gentle nudge deeper into calm. Ahead, a low stone wall appears, half hidden by ferns. It marks the boundary of an old shrine the forest has almost reclaimed. Ivy threads weave through broken tiles, yet nothing looks forgotten. The caretaker stands at a narrow gate, lantern lifted, flame small against the first hints of starlight. You pass beneath the lintel and feel the ground change. Pebbles give way to polished flagstones, cool and smooth, guiding you toward a courtyard washed in silver moon. Stone foxes crouch on either side of the path, tails curled, eyes carved bright with quiet vigilance. Lichen paints them pale green, yet their posture holds the spark of a story still awake. You pause before each guardian, pressing palms together in a silent greeting. The caretaker mirrors the gesture, and together you move on, your breaths falling into a shared slow cadence. At the courtyard center rises a weathered hall, no larger than a garden shed. Lanterns hang from its eaves, their rice paper skins painted with faded maple leaves that flutter when wind passes. Every sway sends gold light pooling across the worn wood deck, then sliding away like silk. The caretaker climbs the 3 low steps, glides a door aside, and an inner glow spills out, soft as candle wax. Inside, tatami mats ripple in neat rows. At the far wall, a small altar holds a single bronze bowl, a bundle of incense, and a cedar box bound with white ribbon. The caretaker kneels, sets the traveling lantern down, then reaches for a taper and touches its tip to the flame. One breath later, the incense catches. Smoke coils upward in a thin, steady column, straight as a pine trunk. You watch it rise until it meets a beam of moonlight that spills through the open door. There it fans out, turning the moonbeam visible, a pale river flowing through still air. The caretaker offers you a cushion woven from reeds, surface cool yet welcoming. You fold into Caesar, spine tall and loose. The scent of the incense drifts over, a blend of cedar and citrus that flickers memories of warm afternoons, yet leaves no tug of longing. It simply is. You breathe it in, feel lungs stretch in soft satisfaction, then release. Outside, bamboo leaves rustle in muted applause. Somewhere high and unseen, an owl calls once, then silence folds in again. Within that hush, the caretaker opens the cedar box. Inside lie dozens of tiny wooden plaques, irma, each the shape of a small house, with a roof pitched just right for the rain. Most are blank, sanded smooth, edges rounded by patient hands. A few carry faint ink strokes, wishes made long ago. The caretaker sets the box between you and lifts a single blank plaque, placing it in your open palm. A brush appears, its handle slender, its bristles stained midnight. The caretaker dips it into a shallow dish of dark ink, then offers it without a word. You take the brush, feeling the wood warm to your skin, and pause. No need to search for phrases. You let the brush hover until a breath guides it down. One stroke flows into another, gentle arcs and quiet dots. The characters form with fluid certainty, though you could not name them aloud. They feel truer than words. When the final mark settles, you exhale, set the plaque on the altar, and watch ink glisten before drying matte. The caretaker adds a plaque of their own, characters bold yet graceful, then lifts the bronze bowl. Inside glints a handful of polished river stones, each as smooth as the water that shaped them. You choose a stone and press it against your heart, letting its cool weight anchor you. A second stone joins it, lighter, holding the echo of distant streams. You place both on the altar. The caretaker rings a tiny bell 3 times. High, clear notes that rise, hang, and dissolve into the rafters. Smoke curls thicker now, braiding with moonlight into soft ribbons that drift through the open door. You follow one ribbon with your gaze as it slips outside. Beyond the threshold, the courtyard glows in widening silver, every leaf edged with quiet flame. Stars push through the dusk in patient sparkle, first 1, then 3, then 1,000, until the sky bears a field of shy lanterns mirroring the fireflies below. The caretaker stands. You stand too, blood moving slow and easy. Together you step back into the evening. The shrine behind you feels alive, yet content to watch rather than call you back. Stone foxes keep their silent post, eyes gentle beneath mossy brows. A path of stepping stones pale under starlight leads from the courtyard into an open glade. Grass there sways knee-high, silver tips sweeping in concert with the breeze. You follow the caretaker among the stalks, each stride loosening the last knots of wakefulness in muscles and mind. In the center of the glade lies a low platform built of cedar planks, edges softened by time. A woven mat stretches across it, wide enough for 2 to recline without crowding. The caretaker takes a seat, legs folded, and spreads a light cotton blanket trimmed with stitched cranes. You sit beside, then lie back, shoulders sinking into firm warmth. The caretaker pulls the blanket over you with the same care given to lantern light, tucking edges until your body feels bordered by cloud rather than cloth. Above, stars deepen to radiant white. You trace constellations familiar and strange. Some lines connect easily, Orion's belt, the spoon of the Big Dipper. Others form new shapes, a bamboo frond, a fox mid-leap, a brushstroke pausing. You imagine your inked plaque lifted among them, a small wish twinkling with its own distant fire. Wind drifts across the glade, carrying hints of jasmine and pine resin, scents so soft they seem dreamed rather than smelt. Your eyelids dip halfway, turning stars to blurry gems. The caretaker strikes flint to steel once more, lighting a squat candle set in a stone holder at the platform's head. The flame is low, barely taller than a blade of grass, yet its gleam pushes a ring of gold across the blanket. Shadows dance in slow circles. The caretaker hums, a tune without words, neither major nor minor, simply a curved line of sound that rises, descends, and rests. It flows around you like water warmed by morning sun. With each breath you feel weight ease from your limbs, seeping into the cedar below. The wind strokes your cheeks with fingers cool yet gentle. The owl calls again, from farther away this time. Its voice, a reminder that watchful eyes keep company while you rest. Crickets thread a soft tapestry at the glade's edge, rhythmic yet subdued. No need to hurry dusk along. The caretaker's hum fades into a comfortable hush. You listen to the silence between cricket notes and find it filled with pulse. Heartbeat, earthbeat, starbeat, all one quiet drum. It slows again, until moments stretch like silk in water. Thoughts wander in, see the stillness, and choose to wait outside. A flicker of candlelight brushes your closed lids. You glimpse warmth even with eyes shut, so you open them once more. The caretaker kneels at the platform's edge, palms pressed together, face turned to the sky. Thin clouds drift in, scattering the stars yet brightening them in pockets. One star slides, brief streak of silver across black, then fades where sky softens into shadow. You watch the caretaker follow the streak with a slight nod, perhaps a quiet thank you. You turn your gaze inward, sensing the inked characters on your plaque resting back at the shrine. They no longer need tending. They burn with their own slow flame now, steady under fox guardians and wooden beams. The stones you placed hold their chill peacefully, weighty enough to remember, light enough not to tug. They will keep vigil till dawn, maybe longer. The caretaker settles beside you once more, blanket wrapped around both your shoulders. Fingers brush your brow, smoothing skin. The gesture feels timeless, as though echoing every tender hand that ever eased someone toward sleep. You inhale, catching notes of sandalwood mixed with cedar, then exhale through parted lips, letting the breath leave in a single, even stream. Body loosens further, bones warmed by the wood beneath. Moon climbs higher. Its glow falls across the shrine roof behind the trees, giving tiles a quiet luster. The fox statues appear to smile in pale guilt. Incense smoke still drifts, thinner now, blending with mist rising from the grass. The world seems made of layers: earth, mist, moonlight, starlight, each softer than the one before. You drift between them like a leaf unhurried in still air. Somewhere near the edge of hearing, a stream murmur returns, slipping through bamboo trunks, adding a bass line to the night's soft song. It reminds you of boats made of paper, carrying inked secrets beyond bends you'll never see. The memory brings no pull to chase them. They sail, you rest. All is correct. The caretaker's breathing matches yours, two slow tides rising and falling on the same shore. Every exhale trades warm air for cool. Every inhale pulls night deeper within. Stars wheel overhead, though you no longer watch the turning. The candle gutter once, then steadies, its flame folded small yet bright. When eyelids drift shut for the final time, you feel a quiet seal pressed gently on your forehead, as if night itself has placed a kiss there. Muscles sigh one last release, thoughts unspool, and the glade around you stretches into dream. The shrine, the foxes, the caretaker's calm hum. They slip into the soft dark as guardians, standing watch on the doorstep of sleep. You cross that threshold without effort, stepping onto a corridor of quiet stars that mirrors the lantern-lit path behind. Footsteps make no sound. In distant corners of the dream sky, fox spirits leap from star to star, tails blazing silver arcs that echo your inked lines. Candlelight dims, moonlight swells, then all melts into the gentle hush of deep rest. Crickets weave their thin lullaby until even their song fades, replaced by the slow, sure rhythm of heart-meeting earth, meeting universe, in perfect, unbroken peace. Chapter 5. Midnight Tea House. Moonlight loosens its grip on the sky, slipping behind slow-moving clouds as the night folds into deeper shades of blue. A tender hush settles over the glade where you rest, and somewhere beyond the ginkgo's wide branches comes the muted tap of wooden clogs on stone. The caretaker has returned. Lantern glow slides across the blanket, brushing your eyelids with a warm invitation. You rise as naturally as a tide meeting shore, shoulders supple, breath unhurried, dream thread still drifting like mist around your thoughts. The air carries a new fragrance, roasted rice mingled with fresh bamboo sap, and it stirs a gentle curiosity rather than hunger. You follow that scent down a narrow footpath softened by moss, each step erasing the seam between dream and waking. Fireflies weave ahead in lazy spirals, guiding without haste. Lantern light joins them in slow rhythm, casting amber pools that bloom and fade across the stones. Soon the ground tilts, descending toward a small valley cradled by tall cedars. Their trunks rise like ancient pillars, and between them hangs a wooden sign painted with a single kanji, brushed so softly it looks whispered rather than written. Beneath the sign, a footbridge spans a stream no wider than a scarf. The water purls beneath slats, singing a memory of Chapter 3's gentle current. You pause at midspan and glance down. Moon shards drift across the surface, stretching and folding around pebbles before slipping away. The stream's voice is so hushed it feels inside your pulse rather than around it. Across the bridge, the caretaker parts a bamboo curtain. A hidden courtyard opens, its cobblestones warm from lanterns perched in clay crocks. Shadows ripple like silk in candlelight, and in the courtyard's center stands a low tea house fashioned from cypress wood, burnished almost black with age. No windows, only sliding panels of rice paper glowing honey gold from inner lamps. Steam curls from a square chimney hole drifting through camellia branches already heavy with dew. The caretaker slides one panel aside. Heat, fragrant with toasted brown rice and wild chrysanthemum, sighs into the cool air. You duck through the doorway and feel the warmth wrap around your shoulders like a shawl. Inside, the room is spare yet welcoming. Reed-woven mats, a knee-high table carved from a single cedar plank, 2 cushions plumped just enough to cradle quiet bones. Tiny shelves line one wall, each holding a different glazed teacup. Celadon, ivory, deep lapis. Every rim unique, every handle shaped to guide fingers into rest. The caretaker crouches by a sunken hearth at the room's heart. Its coals glow ember deep, pulsing soft crimson under a suspended cast iron kettle. Water murmurs within, and each bubble's rise matches your breath's slow cadence. The caretaker lifts a bamboo scoop, ladles water into a glazed bowl where roasted genmaicha leaves weight, shivering at the touch of heat. As steam drifts upward, you watch leaves unfurl like tiny scrolls between worlds. A teaspoon of matcha joins the brew, whisked with quiet flicks of wrist. Froth blooms, pale jade edged with tawny flecks. The caretaker pours a single stream into one of the Celadon cups and sets it before you. The cup's rim is warm where thumb and forefinger meet, yet its bowl radiates a deeper heat into your palms. You lift slowly, inhaling first. Toasted grain, grassy sweetness, a shy hint of vanilla from the wooden shelves. Each note settles against the back of your throat before a drop even touches. Your first sip lands feather-light on the tongue, then unspools a heat that flows down your chest in slow ribbons. It isn't the jolt of caffeine or the spark of strong tea. It's subtler, like a lantern lighting behind your sternum. Muscles between ribs loosen. Thoughts that survived the shrine's hush soften, losing their sharp edges until they glide away like leaves caught in that quiet stream. The caretaker pours a cup for themselves, then lifts a small lacquer box from a side shelf. Inside lie 2 wafers of yuzu-infused rice paper, circles so thin you can nearly see lantern light through them. One wafer is offered to you on a slice of bamboo bark. It greets the tongue with a whisper of citrus and melts before you finish the first mindful chew, leaving only a breath of brightness that nestles beside the tea's warmth. Silence in the tea house is not empty. It hums with the hearth's steady pop, the kettle's hush, the distant owls conversing beyond cedar trunks. The caretaker's breath matches yours again, 2 tides ebbing and rising along the same shore. You notice how the lantern's glow paints every surface amber, but leaves corners soft and shadowed, perfect pockets for stray worries to hide and fade. After the second sip, your gaze drifts to the shelves of cups. Each glaze holds stories in its curves, tiny bubbles hardened into enamel, brush marks frozen mid-stroke. The caretaker sees your curiosity, stands, and lifts a midnight blue cup speckled with silvery dots. It looks like the night sky captured in clay. The caretaker turns the cup so its constellations shift in lantern light, then sets it back with reverence. Without words, the caretaker gestures to the remaining cups. You rise, knees brushing tatami, and glide your fingertips close to each piece. A pale green cup feels cool even from inches away. A russet one seems to hum softly. All hold breath of their own, as though they remember voices that once carried gratitude over tea. You return to the cushion, and the caretaker brings out a second wooden box. Its lid slides back to reveal small onigiri, no bigger than thumb joints, each wrapped in slivers of bamboo leaf. You bite once. The rice is soft yet chewy. Center filled with ginger pickled so delicately it tastes more like memory than spice. The caretaker eats theirs in mirrored calm, savored without haste. Tea is whisked again, this time alone, pure matcha, bright and smooth. The foam catches the lantern glow, shimmering gold around jade. You sip slowly, and the grassy sweetness lifts behind your eyes, clearing even the gentle haze. Not an awakening, more a clearing of sky so stars shine sharper. You see the caretaker's face now more clearly, lines carved softly near eyes from years of smiling at quiet things, a calm steadiness that needs no words to welcome. When cups empty and coals settle to dim orange, the caretaker gently folds the cushions, tucks them aside, and lifts the sliding panel on the room's far wall. Cool air returns, bringing night's hush and a fresh weave of cedar scent. Beyond the panel lies a narrow deck. You step onto cedar planks smoothed by tireless moonlight and seasons of soft feet. The roof overhang shields you, though mist drifts in from the valley like slow breath. The caretaker sets 2 straw sandals on the deck, slips into one pair, and nods. You follow. The courtyard lanterns have burned lower, their flames now no brighter than fireflies. Yet the path ahead gleams. Dew coats stepping stones, reflecting starlight in miniature. The caretaker takes the first step, sandals kissing wet stone with a barely audible tap. You follow in single file, the chill of dew sneaking up ankles, only to be soothed by the tea's warmth still pulsing within. Along the path, camellia blossoms float in shallow bowls of water set atop short posts. Petals drift lazily, spinning in gentle circles, their reflections lingering beneath like ghosts of color. You pause at one bowl, watching a pale bloom slip against its mirrored self, silk on liquid silk. A stray drip leaps from a petal tip, lands with a ping, and ripples swallow the reflection for a heartbeat before it reforms. Deeper into the courtyard, a wooden torii stands, smaller than the shrine's gate, yet just as reverent. Instead of vermilion paint, it bears natural grain, knots forming shapes that resemble soft-edged clouds. Paper charms hang from its lintel, blank, free to catch wishes that may flutter by on midnight breeze. The caretaker passes under first, and you follow. Crossing feels akin to stepping into an even quieter room, though nothing but night surrounds you. Your breath grows slower still. Just past the gate waits a low stone circle with a glowing brazier at its heart. The fire here is minimal, only 3 glowing sticks of cedar, yet it bathes the clearing in ember red. The caretaker crouches, lifts a cast iron kettle from coals, and pours the last of the heated water into a shallow basin. Steam rises, curling into shapes that shift between bird and cloud. The caretaker dips a bamboo ladle, lifts steaming water, and lets it fall through the air. Droplets hiss as they kiss the brazier's surface, releasing a perfume of cedar and sweetened ash. The caretaker fills the ladle again and holds it toward you. You extend cupped palms, letting warm water cascade over fingers, wrists, then drip away to stone. The heat soothes joints, and the soft splash echoes against cedar trunks. The caretaker repeats the gesture for themselves, completing a quiet circle of shared cleansing. Within the circle stands a wooden stand supporting 2 empty cups. The caretaker moves 1 cup over the brazier, capturing curls of cedar smoke inside, then sets it down before you. You lift it to eyes, see smoke twirl inside like a tiny storm before slipping away. The cup feels alive, newly carved. You set it back, and the caretaker fills both cups with the last of the matcha, now cooler yet still fragrant. You inhale, catching faint traces of cedar mingling with tea, a union of earth and leaf. Sip once. The smoky note kisses tongue, then dissolves into sweet jade. Your mind quiets into a steady hush, not empty, but complete. Crickets resume their soft tapestry in the valley below, threading rhythms that harmonize with kettle hiss and distant stream. The caretaker lowers to sit cross-legged, and you mirror. No words. Silence holds everything. It asks nothing but presence. Above, a cloud thins to reveal the moon, newly round, luminous yet gentle. Its silver edges bleed into blue. You watch light pool across stone until it finds the brazier. The coals gleam brighter, catching moon's offering. For a moment, you cannot tell where moonlight ends and fire begins. The 2 glow as one, each feeding the other's hush. When the tea cools to the perfect hush of body temperature, the caretaker stands, gestures downward. You lie back on the deck's cool boards, arms loose at sides. The caretaker fetches a small cotton pillow smelling faintly of rice straw, slips it beneath your head. A blanket follows, lighter than the one in the glade, draped so gently across chest and legs that it feels more like a sigh than cloth. The caretaker settles nearby, gaze lifted to the same moon. A soft hum begins, perhaps the tune from the shrine, perhaps older. It flows like water through reeds, slipping beneath the blanket, wrapping heartbeat in gentle loops. The boards beneath you warm under your body's heat, and the cushion cradles the hollow of your neck. Each breath pulls tea warmth deeper into marrow. Each exhale dissolves another sliver of waking. Moon glides behind another veil of cloud, dimming the courtyard. Lanterns shrink to faint embers. The caretaker's hum fades into the natural hush of cedar boughs, brushing one another. Tick, tick, shh. Far off, a deer steps through undergrowth, hoof on dry branch, crack softened by moss. The sound is distant, safe. Your eyelids sink halfway, turning the courtyard to watercolor tones. Fireflies return, drifting above brazier like wandering sparks from an unseen hearth. One lands on cup's rim, glows bright, then lifts off, tracing a figure 8 that lingers as after-image behind your lids. Stars peek through cloud gaps, forming slow constellations that shift shape as you watch. First a crane, then a tea whisk, then a soft, open palm. All awareness narrows to breath, rise, fall, matched to kettle's dying hiss. A final exhale of steam rises, then stills. The caretaker stands, folds their hands, and bows. The motion is gentle enough not to stir you. Footsteps retreat across moss, fade into bamboo hush. The tea house door slides shut with a whisper, yet warm lantern glow seeps through slats, lingering like a guardian stationed at boundary of dream. You lie within that glow, thoughts now liquid, slipping through fingers you no longer bother to close. Blanket anchors shoulders, cedar scent lifts mind, and the midnight tea settles in belly like a small sun, radiating quiet. You drift, buoyed by heat and hush, deeper into the valley of sleep, where cups never empty and crickets weave lullabies that last until dawn's first cool sip touches the horizon. Chapter 6. Path of Dreaming Leaves. Lantern glow strokes the edges of your vision, coaxing you awake just enough to feel the midnight tea settle deeper, a pocket of warmth nestled behind your ribs. The cedar boards beneath you are still, yet it's as though they breathe in slow unison with the hush of the surrounding trees. The caretaker stands nearby, silhouette softened by the faint ember of the brazier. With a quiet sweep of sleeve, the lantern lifts, its flame shrinking to a dim golden seed. Enough light to guide, never enough to rouse. You rise without breaking the silence, blanket folding in a single ripple behind you. Dew-fresh air greets your cheeks, scented with the faintest thread of citrus from crushed camellia petals. Every inhale feels lighter than the last, and with each exhale a filament of thought drifts away, lost among the cedars. The caretaker leads you along a slender corridor of bamboo that slopes gently upward. Lantern light hovers just ahead, revealing stepping stones veiled by fallen leaves, papery slivers in muted hues of jade and silver, some so thin they glow like moth wings under the flame. Each leaf you brush aside gives a soft sigh, as though it has been waiting to feel footsteps again. The path curves, and a low breeze unspools, nudging the leaves into tiny spirals that dance around your ankles before settling back into stillness. High above, the crowns of bamboo sway, drawing silence into long, slow arcs. Their movement shapes the darkness into an undulating ceiling, one moment porous with constellations, the next gathered into a seamless canopy. You follow the shifting roof of stars and stalks until the forest begins to hum, a resonance you feel more than hear, stitched into the air like the faint vibration of a plucked string. It pulses at the edge of perception, matching your heart's unhurried beat. The caretaker pauses where two ancient trunks lean toward each other, forming a natural arch. A handful of tiny bells dangle from a braided cord stretched between them, slivers of hammered copper cut into crescent shapes. When the wind arrives, each bell answers with a shy chime, notes so light they seem to dissolve as soon as they're born. You tilt your head, listening as the forest gathers those droplets of sound and folds them into its wider hush. Passing beneath the copper crescents feels like crossing an invisible threshold. The air beyond is cooler, drenched in the scent of river stones and early dawn. Lantern light catches something ahead, a faint glow strewn across the ground, neither moonbeam nor firefly. As you draw near, you see leaves that gleam with softly pulsing green, as if each one remembers daylight and is releasing it in slow, sleepy breaths. Bioluminescent veins trace delicate patterns along every blade, and where two leaves touch, their lights mingle, brightening for a moment before dimming in tandem. The caretaker's lantern dims still further, letting the living carpet guide the way. You step onto that glowing path, soles brushing over cool parchment. Each touch conjures a slight swell of brightness that trails you like ripples on calm water. You walk in gentle silence. Every footfall writes a line of soft light, then erases itself moments later. A promise that nothing here leaves a heavy mark. The forest widens into a clearing ringed by bamboo that bows inward, as though curating the night. In the center stands a round tatami platform raised a finger's breadth above moss, its edges bound with ribbons of faded indigo cloth. A silk pillow rests at its heart, embroidered with cranes skimming water. The platform is open to the sky, and through the lattice of swaying stalks above, a gentle scatter of stars watches, their silver steady against the deepening blue. The caretaker sets the lantern on the platform's edge. The flame shrinks to a single ember, then hushes out, leaving only the leaf light to flicker at the periphery. You lower yourself to the tatami, spine unwinding, limbs finding natural angles as though carved by tide. The woven straw clings to residual warmth from an earlier sun, comforting without weight. Nearby, the caretaker kneels on the moss, palms pressed in quiet gratitude to the earth. A final bow, unhurried, then the caretaker stands and steps backward into the dim. Lantern reclaimed, flame rekindled with a barely audible breath, turning to drift back through the corridor of illuminating leaves. You watch the glow recede, each swing of light smaller, until it folds into the black-green shadows and wanes like the memory of a dream. The forest settles once more. You lie back on the tatami, velvet sky rolling above. Bamboo tops sway in slow metronome, tracing arcs that stitch stars together moment by moment. A hush gathers behind your ears, blood, breeze, distant water, all blending into a single lullaby. The glowing leaves encircling the platform shimmer, cycling through soft pulses in no discernible rhythm, yet each one finds resonance with your breath. Inhale, bright flare. Exhale, gentle fade. A moth flutters across your vision, its wings dusted with iridescence. For a heartbeat, it hangs above you, suspended by an invisible thread of starlight. Then it drifts beyond the ring of glowing leaves, vanishing into darkness. You close your eyes and see the after image, a pulse of light folding into quiet. From somewhere deeper in the forest, a bamboo stalk cracks, not fierce, merely a polite reminder of wood bending to wind. The sound echoes once, twice, then merges into hushed resonance. Crickets pick up the slack, weaving thin silver lines across the quiet. Their song is soft but persistent, like distant waves kissing a deserted shore. Each chirp floats through you, loosening thought threads one by one. The tatami breathes beneath your back, rising minutely with night-cooled air, falling with warmth from your body. You feel fibers shift, aligning with the curve of shoulders, spine, hips. All tension dissolves the moment it arises, captured by straw, dispersed among the leaves. Around you, the bioluminescent carpet dims further, as though acknowledging that lingering need for light has ebbed. Only faint glimmers persist, like embers half buried beneath ash. Enough to define edges, never enough to disturb. You sense dawn sneaking beyond the horizon. No color yet, only a thinning of darkness at the rim of sky. In anticipation, bamboo hushes its sway. Crickets slow their cadence. Even the stream you left behind seems to soften its voice, letting water slip rather than lap. A delicate equilibrium forms. World asleep, world waiting. Within that poised stillness, your mind drifts. Images float up unbidden. The lanterns you once lit at the gate, the whispering bamboo flutes, paper boats fading around a river bend, the shrine's fox guardians under rising smoke, the tea house's ember glow. Each vision hovers, luminous but untethered, then sinks like petals surrendering to the stream. Memories now require no holding. They carry their own calm. A cool thread of air slides across your forehead, bringing with it a hush of forest secrets. You feel the soft weight of eyelids closing once more, lashes touching like feathers. Behind them, darkness blurs into muted swirls of green and gold. Breath deepens 1, 2, until ribs move like slow tides meeting shore. You sense the earth's undercurrent, a pulse ancient and low, passing through moss, tatami, then into bone. It is steady, unchanging, older than stories. You align your heartbeat to that rhythm, and the merge is seamless. A faint luminance gathers at the edge of sight, dawn preparing its first brushstroke, yet you remain cocooned inside night's coda, carried by an undertow of drowsiness too gentle to resist. Somewhere a bell chimes once, a single clear note floating across the grove, its echo a silver thread that binds everything you have seen and felt. The note lingers, then dissolves. You drift where sound thins, where thoughts hush to whispers, where eyelids forget the difference between closed and open. The tatami's straw scent, the distant water, the hush of bamboo leaves, they fold into dreamlike pages pressing shut. In their place, a vast quiet opens, lit by the last pulse of bioluminescent leaves and the pale rise of dawn. You slip into that expanse effortlessly, carried along a path of dreaming leaves that drift above a silent stream. All around, the Sagano forest keeps vigil, bamboo stalks swaying in soft benediction, fox statues smiling somewhere in shadow, a caretaker's lantern now resting by a mossy gate, its flame small yet sure against impending light. You follow neither lantern nor leaf now, for sleep has become its own guide, inviting you toward landscapes where moonlight never fades, and every breath is a gentle tide. Rest there. Let dawn light arrive behind closed eyes. The forest remains, guarding your quiet journey until you are ready to wake.